Good morning, guys. Back to my usual time. I did miss last week, but as most of you know, I was on holiday. I finally, it seemed to take forever to come round, as they do, and then in a flash they've gone. But I had an absolute blast. I had a really, really good, all-inclusive, all you can eat, all you can drink holiday in the sun. We went to Magaluf. So yeah, Magaluf's got some reputation, but I've been going for years and I absolutely adore the place. So got a lot to unpack. Not literally, I've done all that. All the washing's been done. I've been back 5 days now and it feels like I've never been away. But I wanted to do this video specifically to go through basically how you navigate holiday whilst you're on Mounjaro. So anyway, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Karen. I'm 56 years old. I'm 5'1", which is important because and I'm going to touch on it a little bit later, but I am currently still in the overweight category. I'm not going to give you my weight yet. I shall save that for a little bit later. I'm sort of spat bang in the middle of the overweight category at the moment. When I first started Mounjaro, I was in the obese category, and my BMI was, I think, around 32 off the top of my head. So I'm also a type 2 diabetic, so I actually do get my medication prescribed for me on the NHS because of my diabetes and because I've been unable to take traditional medication for it as well. So I do get it prescribed. So if anyone, especially if there are any diabetics out there that are considering or being offered Mounjaro, then please consider liking, subscribing to my vlogs, my channel, as yes, for me it is about weight loss, but it's also about managing my diabetes. So if that's something you may be interested in or want to keep an eye on, then please, I don't normally ask, but if we can get some subscriptions going, I am very close to my 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to just get a bit of a push on. And if you're a regular viewer and you keep coming back but you're still not subscribed, please just take that second and push the subscribe button for me. It really does make a massive difference to just getting this my content out to people. I'm not looking to suddenly become an influencer and make loads of money off a channel. That's not going to happen. It's just about getting the vlogs out to the right people, hopefully, to those that can actually get something from it. Anyway, back to the holiday. Quite often with the run up to the holiday, I got asked quite a few times, how am I going to manage my Mounjaro whilst I'm out there? Am I going to take it? Am I going to take a week off? Not take it? How am I going to manage the different food? All the questions, and I'm sure everybody is thinking. And I was thinking as well. I didn't know, because I didn't know how I was going to react. But I've been on 7.5 milligrams now for, I think this is my 3rd pen, so I think I'm coming up to the end of 12 weeks or around that. And I'm stable on it. I don't have any side effects. I just don't have any issues with it at all. I do have a little bit of suppression and the food noise is off. But I get my hunger cues. I eat 3 meals a day. I eat well. I'm not starving myself. For me, I'm just not overeating. So my choice was to take the medication as I normally would do. I was only away for a week, so it was not like I had to go down the route of taking it with me. What I did do though is I changed my jab day. Initially I was taking my injection on a Wednesday. Now we flew on a Tuesday. So a couple of weeks before it, I shifted it a day. So I took it one day early, about 3 weeks before I went. So I changed my injection day to a Tuesday. Now, we were flying on the Tuesday afternoon, so I took it the Tuesday morning before we went. So by the time I got there, my usual first jab had kicked in. I'd got pretty much full suppression, as I would do for the first day or so. But I do not have any issues with food whatsoever. In fact, I think I can quite safely say I've got a pretty cast iron stomach. I don't eat foods and I suddenly react. As long as I'm not overeating, I can pretty much eat what I want to eat. Although I choose to eat healthy, so I don't choose to eat pizza all day long. So that was my first step. I chose to move my injection day. It coincided really well with the flights. We weren't flying till tea time, so I was able to take it in the morning without any issues. Had I been flying first thing in the morning, I may have taken it the night before, and maybe gone that 1 over day and had an 8-day week instead of a 7. So as it happens, we came back on Tuesday. By the time we got back, again around the tea time, I was able to take it. So I was maybe a couple of hours late. If I had been going away for 10 days, maybe 14 days, I think I would have taken it with me. I know I had a fridge available to me, so I think I would have taken the decision to take it the day before I went, and I most likely would have taken it whilst I was out there. But I said the majority of my decision was around the fact that I've been on 7.5 for several months now, and I'm stable on it. I wouldn't recommend, if somebody's planning on going on holiday, you changing your dose the week before you go. You know, if you're getting the food noise and you get into that point when you think, actually, I'm ready to go up a dose, I would just be mindful and considerate as to when you're going away. Have you had time to get used to that new dose? Or is it worth you staying on your old dose for those extra couple of weeks maybe to incorporate the holiday? Now, the other option that a lot of people will say is that they're just not taking it. They're just going to not take it and enjoy the holiday. You know, they want to be able to eat and drink what they want, which, again, is a personal choice. I know Phil Double L has just gone on holiday. I think he went yesterday, and I think he's away for 10 days. And he's chose not to take it. So he's going to be pretty much a full 2 weeks without any Mounjaro. Apart from what's already in your system, it doesn't just stop. And that's the way he's chosen to do it. For me, especially having been away now and knowing, I would take it with me. But like I said, I'm in that stable 7.5 at the moment. If I'd have just gone up to 10, then my decision may have been different. I'm not sure. Maybe I would have just taken a 7.5 dose for the week that I was going away. But like I said, it's a personal decision. The one thing that I did do is make sure that I took my first aid kit with me. Like I said, I don't have any gastric issues at all, but I am very aware that earlier days I was quite prone to a little bit of heartburn, and this even pre-Mounjaro I used to suffer with heartburn. So I made sure that I'd got a pack of Rennies with me. I also made sure that I got some diarrhea medication. I don't suffer with it at all, but again, you never know, whilst you're away, something may occur. So I took those with me as well. Didn't need them in the end. I took some paracetamol, Brufen, usual bits and pieces that you would take with you. Now, anybody that's been watching my vlogs knows that I'm not an advocate for electrolytes. For general population, for those people that are really heavily exercising or live in hot climates, then I think electrolytes do have a place. But I think they're overhyped, and us General people do not need them. You need to drink your water, but realistically, needing electrolytes, I think, is, like I said, overhyped. However, on that note, I took electrolytes with me, and with the expectation that I would take one every day. A couple of reasons. I'm in a hot climate. Obviously, I was keeping up my water as much as I possibly could, but I was in a hot climate, which is unusual for me. And also, I was drinking. I knew that I would be drinking alcohol on a daily basis. And if nothing else, electrolytes will help with a hangover the following day. Rightly or wrongly. So I chose to take electrolytes this time. It's just not something that I will take on a normal daily basis. And it helped. I really do think it helped, even if it was with the hangover the following morning. So anyway, that was my decision as to how I took my medication. Like I said, you're going to have to come up with your own reason. You're going to have to work it out for yourself. You know, some people are quite happy to go cold turkey, go without, and think about it later. My experience from the level of suppression that I have, and the fact that I've been on the 7.5 for several months, I was stable. I was happy to take it, and it did not affect my holiday one little bit. So as I'm going, I am going to put up some shots of food, drink, the usual bits and pieces that we had. But I ate 3 meals pretty much every day. I pretty much drank alcohol every single day. I think there was one day that I didn't. And don't get me wrong, I chose quite often not to drink. We'd maybe have a glass of wine with the evening meal would have been my first drink. And then other days we were day drinking and we were having cocktails in the middle of the afternoon. So I just listened to what I wanted to do at the time. I didn't have any obligation, let's say, to drink. If I wanted to, I did. And if I didn't want to, I didn't. I mean, the one evening we went out to a bar, my son had a couple of cocktails and I had a Diet Coke. I did get a strange look from the barman. He was like, Diet Coke? Are you sure? But I just chose that I didn't want to drink that evening, and so I didn't. And that's the thing. You can make your own choices. You are not forced into doing anything that you do not want to do. So, standard, all-inclusive. You know, it wasn't a high-end place, but the food was good. Typical breakfasts, I would have fruit, yogurt, nuts, seeds, same things that I would have here. We did go out a couple of days. If anybody knows Magaluf, there is a famous place on the beach called Tom Brown's, and I mean it's a Manchester-based guy that runs it, and it's typical English grub. You know, it's that typical thing. You all go to Spain and then want to fry up. So we did go a couple of days and had a class as a proper fry up for brunch, because you eat that at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning and you do not need to eat again. We didn't eat out on the evening. We ate at the hotel most of the evenings. And again, typical buffet style food. Prioritise protein. I used to just check what meats they'd put out for that day. There was always fish, always meat. And then again, I'd naturally just stay away from a lot of the carbs. So maybe a small amount of carbs, and then filled up with salad in some cases, or just the vegetables. So I was just sensible, and my plate wasn't too big. Whereas previously, I'd have piled it all on. I'd have gone, oh, I haven't had that, or oh, fancy that. And I'd have a massive plate full, and then I'd go back for desserts and puddings. But this time I looked at my plate and thought, no, that will be enough. I don't need any more. As much as I did look at the food and go, oh, yeah, it's difficult with a buffet because you've got a choice, but you want both. So I made the choice. I ate it. I was perfectly satisfied. I did go back for dessert a couple of times, had a couple of ice creams, and a massive piece of cake, which was most likely the only, regret's too strong a phrase, but let's just say I did finish it, but I was a little stuffed at the end of that one. So that was one that sat a little heavy with me for just a couple of hours afterwards. But on the whole, I ate really well. And like I said, I drank most evenings. I've been flashing up pictures of my cocktails were beautiful. We did have a ambition, let's say, to do a different cocktail every day. I think we maybe did pretty much hit that. But there was a couple of favourites that we did keep going back to. There was one particular bar that does the fantastic mojito. So we did go back a few times for that one. So all in all, it was a fantastic holiday, as you'd expect. Now, surprisingly, unsurprisingly, I did come back from the holiday with a couple of non-scale victories, which hadn't occurred to me until after the event, if that makes sense. It wasn't something that I was even contemplating before I went. The first one was just the initial going, the flying, the airport, or the hassle that goes with that. I'm quite a stressy traveller. Not that I'm afraid of flying. Flying doesn't bother me whatsoever, but what does bother me is the airport, the check-in, the bags, the security. I'm just very anxious. But once I've cleared security and then I've got through and I know where my gate is, I can relax. I can sit down and go, okay, we know what we're doing now. We've done everything we need to. It's just waiting for the right time. So I am somebody that 3 hours beforehand, I couldn't do that last minute running through. That would absolutely kill me. But so we sat, and so the first non-scale victory was the fact that we were able to sit in this little Weatherspoons in our airport out of Birmingham, and they cram in the tables, these tiny little tables, but I was able to sit comfortably, have my food. I know this sounds horrible, but I didn't feel like that fat person in everybody's way. We had something to eat before the flight, not a problem. Got on the flight, and I always thought airline flights seats were tiny. They're not. It was just me. I was too big for them. We had plenty of room. We were only flying general, Jet 2, economy, nothing special. I had the most comfortable flight I think I've ever had. I didn't feel crammed in. I wasn't tight with the belt. I was able to, I've never got to the stage when I've needed to ask for an extension, but I got quite close. To the point that it used to worry me getting onto a flight. No problems whatsoever this time round. So a couple of non-scale victories, just literally travelling out there. The other one that really resonated with me is I lived in a bikini for every single day during the week around the pool. We'd spend, we'd go down for breakfast and then we'd go and spend a few hours around the pool. We're not sunbathers, we're not sun worshippers, we're very pale. So we can only really do a couple of hours. And I'd taken out a couple of bikinis, and I'd also taken out a couple of full swim costumes, along with sarongs and cover-ups. And previous holidays, I would have found a lounger in as much in a corner as I possibly could be. I'd wear a full swimming costume and then I'd have a cover-up. And the only time I would expose myself would be when I was literally lying on the sunbed there. And if I had to get up and go to the bar, I'd put the sarong on and cover up and everything else. This time round, I chose to wear the bikini. I am going to put a shot in. It's still not pretty, but I was comfortable enough. I think the angle isn't fantastic on the photo, so I'm going to use that as my excuse. But I'm going to put it in there anyway. I was comfortable enough to get up, walk around, go to the bar, get into the pool, get out of the pool. I didn't take a sarong down with me. I just walked around in a bikini. For the first time in decades, I didn't feel like the fattest person around the pool. I didn't feel like everybody was staring at me. And I didn't have that. I mean, I'm not saying that there were people bigger than me or smaller than me. It was just something that every single time I'd gone away, I felt like the biggest person. Whether I was or not is, debatable. But I felt like that huge person that everybody was staring at. The one that jumps in the pool and people think, oh God, the water's all going to come out if she gets in. That was my mentality. And it wasn't this time. I felt reasonably comfortable in my own skin. And that is absolutely amazing. If that's the only thing that I ever take from this, that's brilliant. So really, really happy with that one. And the other non-scale, again, came down to clothes. I don't know about the rest of you, but every time I pack to go on holiday, I always pack at least half of the much that I need, or possibly twice as much that I need, because I have to have options. Because yes, I think I might want to wear that pair of trousers, but when I actually put them on mid holiday, I've bloated so much that I can't do them up, or they're uncomfortable, so I have to have another option just in case. That didn't happen this time round. I was able to go to my case, go to my wardrobe and go, yeah, I fancy wearing those this time, put them on. And I was comfortable. I did not have that, I wish I'd have brought bigger clothes with me. I wasn't sure whether everything was going to fit, but it did. And that is absolutely mind-blowing. I didn't have that issue at all. So, end of my holiday update, and I'm not going to keep going on about it because I'm just going to depress myself now because I want to go back on holiday. But it is what it is now. But I know it's running up to holiday season, and there's a lot of you out there that will be planning to go and unsure about certain things. So please, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. Ask, if it's something that I have done, haven't done, I'll help as much as I possibly can. But what I would say is just don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. And I think that's the problem a lot of us have, especially around the jab. Don't overthink it. If your internal system says you don't want to take it, then don't take it. Take a week off. Go and do what you are comfortable with. If you're comfortable with it and you're on a stable dose and you don't feel any real side effects or anything that you don't feel that you can't cope with, then take it. Travelling with it is not an issue. Although I haven't personally, I've seen plenty of people that travel all the time. Take it in your hand luggage. There's plenty of those little cases that you can buy on Amazon, the insulin cases. There's a vlogger that I know goes long haul quite often. Rob, if I can remember, I'll link his channel. He goes over to the States quite often. So he travels long haul, and he takes his jab with him as well. So it's very doable. I don't know of anybody that's had any issues being stopped in customs. Make sure you take your prescription. Make sure you have your box with your label on it, just to prove that it's your medication. But there shouldn't be any issues. So if you are going away for longer than a week, it's very doable. Right. And as I said, that's where I'm going to leave the holiday vlog, but happy to answer any questions in the comments. But there was one other thing, and I've alluded to it on the thumbnail. Just before I went away, the Monday, so the day before, I had to pop to the doctors to go and get my blood tests done. It should have been done a few weeks previously, but while I was on holiday, I think a couple of days later, I got a message from my GP saying, can you give the surgery a ring to book a consultation regarding your results? So I have the NHS app, so I'm able to actually go on and see all my results. And I was gobsmacked. let's put it this way. Like I said, I am diabetic. I'm not going to go into the numbers here. I am going to do a one-off special, midweek special, just covering my diabetes, because I think it is really important to put the figures out. And for those that, are interested or possibly type 2 diabetes themselves. So anyway, had a look, and my HbA1c, which is it's the long-term test that they do, which is the most accurate. It gives you your readings over average for around 3 months. Before I went away, my readings were 54, and they've been 54 for the last couple of years. And for reference, type 2 diabetes starts at 48. So anything above 48, you're a type 2 diabetic. Anything below 42 is classed as normal. So I had a look at my results while I was on there, and my HbA1c was 34, which means officially I've put my diabetes into remission. This is the whole reason I started taking this drug, was to put my diabetes into remission. I knew losing weight, and I had been losing weight previously, was going to be the big. Yes, Mounjaro helps to regulate your blood sugar, but long term, keeping your blood sugar at normal levels, you need less fat on your body, because fat can cause a hell of a lot of the insulin resistance that causes the issue in the first place. So less fat, less insulin resistant, less diabetes. So getting it down was always going to be a priority, but I also knew that keeping it down and keeping it the weight off go hand in hand. I have to do both. So yeah, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I have spoken to the surgery regarding it. They've quite happy for me to continue taking Mounjaro, thankfully, because that was always something in the background. It's like, oh, well, you're in remission now, you don't need it. But no, I still have, and I may still touch on this. I'm 30 minutes in, so I don't want this video to go on too much. But I do still have around £20 left to lose to be of a normal weight. I'm like I said, I'm still middle of the overweight category right now. But for my health reasons, I do need to make sure that I get that into the normal range. And, a decent amount into the normal range. I don't want to be just touching it. I do want to be sort of a middle of that road, which does mean that I still most likely have at least a stone, maybe closer to 2 to go. I'm not putting a number on it. It's going to depend as I get there. So, yeah, my diabetes is in remission. So, like I said, I'm going to do a full video on that midweek to dip into the figures and everything. So, right, finally, just quickly, I'm going to go into my weight. So, I quite jokingly said at the beginning, before I went away, I wonder how much weight I can put on. And it was tongue-in-cheek, and I know, I'm very self-deprecating. If nothing else, I can quite happily take the piss out of myself. I don't need anybody else to do it. I can do it myself. And I was, it was like, oh, let's run a book. Let's see how much weight I can possibly gain in a fully all-inclusive with alcohol for a week. So before I went, I weighed at 138.5 pounds, I think it was. It might have been 0.6. I'll pop it there anyway. So stunning as far as I was concerned, because I wanted to get under the 140. That was my target, to get under the 140 for my holiday. I haven't been under 140 for, again, decades. Since my mid-20s. I remember clicking over 10 stone, so I've now finally gone under 10 stone. So I came back on the Tuesday tea time, and literally for no other reason but shits and giggles, I weighed in on Wednesday. I had no intention whatsoever of taking that weight seriously. I just wanted to know what I could put on in a week in that sense. And I know it's water weight, it's bloat from the flight, alcohol, everything else. So please don't come at me. I know. So I weighed in on the Wednesday morning and I was 143.5. So I'd put on £5, which actually I thought was really good. I was expecting more like 7 to 9. I felt I could not overeat enough because I did feel like I'd eaten well, but I also knew that I'd eaten a lot more than I would have done normally, and obviously the alcohol that goes with it. And by now you've seen the cocktails I was drinking. There's a lot of sugar in those things. So anyway, I then left it and just thought nothing more of it, noted it, moved on. So finally weighed in this morning and I now weigh in at £138 dead, which is half a pound down from before I went away. So not only have I lost all the bloat and the water that I had put on over that, I've also lost a further half a pound, which is amazing. I was sort of expecting that maybe I might need to work on it for a couple of weeks to get off any 1 or 2 pounds that may be a bit persistent. But no, it's all come back off again. Straight home, straight back onto my injection, back into my normal eating plan, and it's gone again. So absolutely chuffed to bits with that one. So moving forward, I alluded to this again a few weeks ago, that I want to go into a temporary maintenance phase, if that makes sense. Before this, I was getting a bit of diet fatigue. I was just getting a bit fed up. I mean, my weight loss is always low. So anybody that has continually watches me, you know that I only ever really lose about half a pound to a pound, occasional, the odd whoosh, but usually about half a pound. I've maintained a couple of weeks. But again, that's partly the diabetes. It's a struggle to lose weight when you are diabetic. But also, I'm in the tail end of my weight loss. The bulk has gone, so it's always going to slow down. I've been on it now for 6 months. So the bulk's gone, but it's those final few. And I was getting a bit of diet fatigue. So what I decided to do, and I'm still going to do, is, and I've most likely already started, is up my calories. I'm going to eat nearer to my maintenance. I most likely will still in a slight deficit. I'm not going to most likely go maybe 100 calories under. But I'm going to eat closer to my maintenance, and I am going to concentrate more on the gym. So it's been a couple of weeks now. We need to get back to the gym. I've come back with a bit of a cold, typical, but so we just haven't been in the mood for going back to the gym. So realistically, that starts again next week. And I want to concentrate on trying to build some muscle mass. So I'm not going to eat in a deficit purely to lose fat. I want to work out a little bit more, get back to my strength training and see if I can do a bit more of body composition as opposed to just losing fat, and most likely losing some muscle as well. My muscle mass has been really good. I have worked out for the majority of this journey, and my muscle mass I'm not losing. Well, according to my scale, I know they're not accurate to that extent, but I'm not losing huge amounts of muscle mass, which is good. But I would like to change that to start building some muscle. It's very difficult to build muscle if you are eating in a deficit. Some people can do it, but realistically, you do need to be eating in a bulk to be able to build decent amounts of muscle. But what I can do is protect what I have, and hopefully build a little, definitely build my strength, just so that I go down that composition route. Now, my plan is to do that for a couple of months. Most likely over the summer, reassess again in most likely September. I do need to have my bloods done again in September because the doctors have agreed to take me off my other medication. So I do need to retest my my glucose levels in 3 months just to make sure that we're not tipping it the wrong way. So for those next couple of months, I'm planning on staying on the 7.5 unless I'm not adverse to going up, but at the moment I'm okay on it. If the food noise starts to come back or I find that it's not working, I will go up to the 10. But the plan is to stay on the 7.5 for the next couple of months, up my calories slightly, get some more gym time in, and then reassess again, most likely September, maybe into October. And just enjoy the summer a little bit more. You know, we do have planned, weather dependent, a few family barbecues. Not obviously, I've been away now, I'm not going away again, but I do want to try and enjoy the summer. And that may mean the odd drink, although looking at those pictures, you'd think that I'm drinking every day. I haven't touched a drop since I came back. It is purely a one-off. So yeah, that's my plans going forward. Obviously, I need to keep an eye on my diabetes. Hopefully that's not going back. The weight is off, so it can only hopefully go in the right direction. But like I said, I will do a full update on the numbers for anybody that's really interested on Wednesday. I think that will go up. And then once I get my bloods redone again in 3 months, I'll do another update on that. Right, so back to work on Tuesday. Rinse and repeat, I'm afraid. It's one of those. It's the post-holiday blues. I've got nothing to look forward to now. But I have a new plan. So I think that's the thing. You've got to keep setting small goals. So my goals for the next couple of months is not necessarily on the scale. If the scale keeps coming down, then that's great. But I'm not setting myself a target in that sense. But I'm also very open to changing my plans. If this doesn't work, I will reevaluate it, but I will also give it enough time to start working. So I think minimum of 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, see how it goes, and then we'll take it from there. So, right, on that note, I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy your next week. If you've got holidays coming up, excuse me, mag a love cough. If you've got holidays coming up and you're unsure about anything, please drop me a question. There's loads of people that will come in, comment. So if I don't know the answer, I'm sure there'll be somebody within the comments that will know the answer. So please just ask the questions. And if you are going on holiday, enjoy it. If you're staying in the UK, enjoy it. You know, we don't get much of a summer, but we get the odd day. It's actually quite nice today, so I'm going to try and get out in the garden. Yeah, there's a lot of gardening to be done. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy your week. I'm back at work on Tuesday, and then back to Groundhog Day, unfortunately, isn't it? But we've got to earn a living. We can't all live the life of luxury of flying around, although I wish I could, but... Right, guys, have a fantastic week. Please, if you've made it to the end of this video and you're interested in some of the comment, please give me a comment and give me a subscribe if you can do so. Right, and I'll see you all next week. And for those that are interested, I'll see you on Wednesday for an update. Right, bye for now. Bye.